Hey everyone, it's Rob Folia and Jessica Klein with Folia Properties here at Keller Williams Realty in Nashville, and we're coming to you live today to talk about what basically you've decided to wait to sell your home until 2021. Now what? Like, how do you know when to go on the market? Maybe you're wanting to take advantage of some of these market statistics that we keep talking about. Like, what does all this mean for you? And so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this and chat about it today. Does that sound good, Jessica?
Yeah, and I think diving in is a great way to put it based on this graph we have here. I mean, these are some pretty dramatic numbers, and I think they're not quite what I expected, honestly. I mean, the numbers here. I mean, what are we looking at? Homes for sale at the moment?
Absolutely. So we are absolutely we're looking at homes for sale. Let me get this out of the way. We're looking at homes for sale, and here let me in fact go back a little bit further, and let's just look at the max trend. You can kind of see how these lines have basically been kind of there's been a bell curve, every year just about, but then it was kind of bottoming out the amount of homes for sale back in 2017. That was the extreme sellers market that we were in here in Nashville. And then it started to just climb back, and it was really looking like this year was going to become a balanced market pre-COVID, before all that happened. And you're right. It is alarming to see how. I mean, this is literally the lowest amount of homes for sale I think we've ever had in our MLS. Yeah, it literally is the lowest amount of homes we've ever had, and that is alarming, for some. And the biggest thing I think that has contributed to this, I mean, let's just face it, it's been COVID. I mean, it's 2020, and so many people, because of all the craziness in our world, have said, well, hey, we crave the security that we have in our home. We crave knowing what the four walls around us are, the roof over our head, what that is. And so many people have said, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to not put my home for sale. And that's why, instead of seeing this pretty normal bell curve, yeah, there have been some extremes, some quicker drops in inventory, back in between 2011 and 2012, and some quicker rises from 2018 into 2019. And yet this is definitely an aberration, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think every time we've come here, because these numbers are published monthly, so every month we come back and look at these, and we kind of expect some kind of a recovery, and it just hasn't been happening. And I think part of that is like you said, COVID, and that has kind of led into the winter months where we do. I mean, you can see it in this graph. We tend to see fewer and fewer homes for sale during the colder months. It's the holidays; people like to be in their homes. Now, what we tend to see right after the holidays is a peak, right? It's that sharp increase. And that's what people think of as spring market and lots and lots is going on, right? Now I think what we'd like to talk about here is how to time it, how to time selling your house so that you can take advantage of, the increased number of buyers in the market, but not be drowned out by all these new homes that are coming on.
Absolutely. And so the reason for that is, you can see, again, we've talked about the bell curve that tends to happen a lot, of the peak that happens toward the middle of the year. And again, these are homes for sale. Yeah, we could talk about new listings and all that, but you can see it's very similar in terms of a bell curve. However, the reality is, if you were a home for sale in August of 2018, you're not just competing against homes that just hit the market in August 2018. You're competing against every home that's out there. So that's why we're talking about this specific statistic right now. Before we even dive into, to looking at, maybe timing next year, keep in mind that, there obviously nobody knows what the market's going to do next year. Nobody expected this year. Nobody expected the market to just completely go down in terms of the amount of homes for sale, and really rise in terms of the amount of homes sold. And so, because of all the above, nobody knows what next year is going to look like. At the same time, if we're predicting based on past performance, we can see that very typically by, basically this April, May timeline, that's when the amount of homes for sale really starts to increase. And, when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing that the lines are going up higher in those months, and that the inventory levels are rising higher than they are in February and March, that's telling me that more homes are hitting the market at that time than the buyers are receiving it. Is that coming across clearly, Jessica? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
And so, the biggest thing that really concerns me about the inventory levels that we're seeing right now is, and I'm going to jump back to the max stats here for a second, because again, if you look at what this looked like, this was a pretty much a straight a curve going down, and then it was going a curve that was going back up. And if we get rid of the monthly and look at like a rolling 12 months, you can see what I mean. Like it was up here, and then it slowly was going down, and it looked like it was going to be trending back upward at some point, at the very least, to becoming more of a balanced market about where my mouse is. And the thing that concerns me, the reason why I'm sharing this with you, is that I can easily see this, the fact that there are no homes for sale right now, that all the homes that were going to hit the market in 2020 hitting in 2021.
Yeah.
And what happens when you have a flood of anything that's for sale?
Yeah, the price is going to go down.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because
and I think, I mean, I again, this is pure speculation, but I think you're completely right that people who would have liked to sell in 2020 and have held back a little bit are probably, with the vaccine coming out, with the election being over, with the warm weather coming, all these things, I think we're going to see a pretty big surge, in the early months going into spring in 2021. And so now, if you're a seller, you don't want to be in the market, right? We just talked about how the price goes down when all of these people come into the market. So how do we time it so you can take advantage of these current high prices on homes?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I'll get into that in just a second, because I think you're 100% right, Jessica. What you just said in terms of the vaccine and the amount, like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to in 2020 who have said, I'm going to wait. I don't want people coming through my home right now. I want to be safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I respect that completely. If somebody feels that way about COVID, they want to stay safe, keep their family safe. Like 100%, I agree with that. And yet at the same time, know that you're not the only person who thought that way, if that's you. And in fact, so many people thought that way that instead of, last November, 18,816 homes were for sale. This year, 11,598 homes are for sale. It's almost a 40% decrease in the amount of homes for sale across our entire MLS year over year.
When trending, it should have been increasing.
Exactly. Like if you look at November of 19 compared to November of 18, I mean, that's off the top of my head, quick mental math, 20% increase from 18 into 19.
Yeah, so we're 50-60% below where we expected to be this time of year in 2020.
It's really crazy. And so, I mean, the reality is those people will come back around as home sellers. And like we're talking about, like we've talked about on a lot of these videos in the past, real estate's very supply and demand driven. And so if more supply hits the market, the demand's still going to be there. Rates are still low. Buyers are still going to be ready to buy, except they're going to have more options now. So instead of homes selling in a couple of days or in a week or two, that's going to change when the inventory, that flood of inventory opens up again. And so long story short, Jessica, to answer your question in terms of, hey, how do you time the market? What does it look like for next year? In my opinion, it's beat the spring selling season. I mean, so many people say, I'm going to wait till after the holidays. I want to wait till the trees bloom. And yeah, that's great. You can wait till March, April, May. But no, you're going to be in this when typically inventory levels are climbing pretty dramatically. My opinion, if timing is of no issue to you, like you're not worried about timing it for when your kids are out of school or anything like that, do it in January or February. Beat the market, because even if you look right here, very subtle increase in 2018 between the amount of homes for sale from January to February, just a few hundred more. You compare January of 12,000 homes for sale to May, there's an extra 2,700 homes for sale. And if that's the norm, and then this year it's climbing from here up to where it was supposed to be, roughly here, I mean, we could see twice the amount of homes for sale that we currently see today. I don't know if it's twice the amount of buyers is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, and it probably won't be twice the amount of buyers because nothing is really changing for a buyer. The rates are very likely going to be similar, if not the same. And I mean, that's just not waiting for 6 months or 4 months or whatever it is to get those pretty pictures with the flowers on the trees is not going to make up for that change in the number of homes and the no change in the number of buyers. So, I mean, with inventory being so low and homes really are selling like that, if I were a seller right now, honestly, I would take a hard look at it and see if I'm able to sell sooner than I planned.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you, because I mean, it's just the reality of it. Again, I can't stress enough that this year we were supposed to be somewhere over here. If you look at trend lines, instead the most amount of homes we had for sale this year in May, 19,000 was, barely. I mean, even then, it was still above what we had in May of 19. But then the bottom just fell out, as we've done some of these videos in months past. And so, anyway, y'all, we could talk about this for forever. And the long story short, if you made it this far in the video, thank you. But secondly, go through, and if you plan to sell your home in 2021, and time is not like, again, you're not trying to time a certain event that's happening or anything like that. Y'all sell now. I can't stress that enough. Like, sell in January, sell in February. Call us now so we can get the plan going for you. But you basically start the process to where we can hit the market before this happens. Because again, I'd be surprised if we were copying and pasting. Let me go back a little bit. If we were copying and pasting like this year with a subtle, little simple bell curve of starting the year and ending the year around the same, I'd be really surprised if that happened in 2021, where
Yeah,
we
we
would
need the
start
correction.
exactly. It's going to correct itself. And so the extreme sellers market we've been in, it very well could go away with the news of the vaccine and with everything else. Again, this is somewhat speculation, and we never want to be the speculators. We want to be the informers. And yet, with the reality is, we know what's happening in the news, and this is what I can wholeheartedly see happening next year based on what's happened this year. So
Yeah, I 100% agree. I have a hard time seeing anything but that happening, honestly. So we'll
same.
see, right? Keep
Exactly.
watching.
Exactly. And so if y'all are curious at all about any specific areas, like maybe you're curious, because I mean, I know we've pulled up, different areas in the past, like gone into Nashville or Franklin or Murfreesboro or Lebanon or whatever it might be, reach out to us. I mean, we're happy to inform you as to what's happening in your market. I can tell you, though, that every area around here looks somewhat like this. It may not be as extreme as this for every area. Maybe some are only down to here instead of down to here, but inventory levels are super low regardless. And so I'm 100% confident we can help you take advantage of the great market as a home seller, sell your home for top market price before the market corrects itself. So,
Yep.
uh,
Couldn't
so
have said it better myself.
as always, y'all, give us a shout if you need anything, 615-591-5665. You can email us, info@foliaproperties.com. If you're seeing this live, drop a comment, respond. We'll get back to you. If you're not on it live, if you're seeing the recording, we'll get back with you. Before we jump off, any live comments on there, Jessica?
I do not see any at the moment. Sometimes there's a little delay, so we'll keep an eye on it.
All right, cool. Well, if anybody comments after we sign off here, definitely we'll get back with you. But appreciate y'all checking this out, and we'll be in touch. If we don't, I don't think we have another live video scheduled for Christmas. So hope you all have a great Christmas and a great holiday season.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, y'all.